Another episode of Liquidium Lunch Club. I feel like it's been a minute since we've talked to you guys. It's been a few weeks. We haven't met since before Bitcoin Nashville. So welcome. Today we are joined by our CEO Robin and our CTO Pete. What's going on, fellas? Yeah. A couple new faces too. Good to see everyone. So today we're gonna have a little bit of a different layout. We're gonna talk about our token that we freshly dropped and what our plans are for the future of the token. We would also like to open up the floor later on for Q&A. But first, before we get to that, Robin and Pete, do you guys have any good eat situation going on over there? In the trenches. No, I feel it. Nah. There we go. No, this is definitely post dinner for you. I got some mango juice going on, and I already ate lunch earlier, but I am eating on some Texas toast croutons. If you don't know about them, yo, you know it. Trench. Oh, dude, they're so good. They're so good. I'm getting a stomach ache. You got that right. But let's go ahead and start this up a little bit, and I'll pass the torch over to Robin to go ahead and kick off the agenda here, if you don't mind, Robin. Perfect. Yeah, that sounds like a good rundown here. Shall we start with the token explanation first? That's a perfect. Interesting. Interesting. I wonder if that's because I'm on a external mic and the headphones. I'm not sure. It's a good question there. Appreciate you, Ray. Did you guys just drop and re-add? Okay, okay. I don't know how that happened, but let's continue, and I'll try to work on it on the back end.
The snapshot was taken on July 21st at around 12 p.m. UTC. So yeah, the snapshot was taken. Before that, obviously, we didn't talk about anything, how kind of, I guess, the distribution of the token or what the purpose of the token will be. That was kind of to kind of keep the playing ground equal for everybody. And obviously, with the Genesis airdrop, that is a reward that we wanted to send to our community. Obviously, a lot of people have been using the platform. Everybody helped to shape the platform to where it is right now. And as kind of our way of thanking the community, we went ahead and airdropped a distribution of the token to our most important users. And as kind of our way of taking into consideration that this is a governance token, obviously something that we focused on is a very wide distribution of the token. So basically the distribution, how it worked is it took into consideration the points that you were holding. So essentially, the more points you were holding, the more tokens you were getting. But at the same time, we didn't want to kind of have, I guess, 80% of the token supply in the hands of just a handful of users. So there was a weighted distribution, which basically introduced a kind of, instead of an exponential curve, it kind of flattened the curve a little bit, where ultimately the goal was to have a as wide distribution as possible to have a maximum degree of decentralization. So now getting into, also the total supply that was airdropped was 10%. 7% of that went to protocol users and 3% went to ordinal communities. Ordinal communities were selected basically by the amount of volume that they had on Liquidium itself. So the ordinal communities that we chose were the ones, or like the top ones on Liquidium based on volume, to kind of, I guess, tap into these communities even more and give back to these communities as well. Yeah, so that's about the airdrop. Speaking about the weighted distribution that we have done, we have received 2 pieces of feedback over the course of the last couple of weeks since we dropped the token. So there were like 2 main concerns, I guess, that we wanted to touch on as well now. One of them was a Sybil attack, and essentially what happened is that there was a Sybil attack by one or more people. Essentially what happened is that they ran like bots and did single transactions on Liquidium, spinning up a bunch of wallets and doing like very, very little interaction with the protocol. In total, retroactively, we kind of tracked all of these Sybil addresses, and the total amount of Sybil addresses that we detected were 749 addresses, resulting in a total of 149,800 tokens that were distributed to Sybil addresses. Obviously, we don't want to reward bots. We don't want to kind of reward people that game the system. And therefore, we went ahead with a governance proposal. And in the first step of the governance proposal, we are basically acknowledging this issue, the Sybil attack specifically, and we're taking 149,800 tokens from the founders' allocation and redistributing them to the people that were affected by the Sybil attack. So basically, the people that received less tokens because there were these Sybil tokens. So that's step number one. Concern number two that was mentioned by the community was around the taxation, or I guess quote unquote taxation, the weighted distribution that I was talking about earlier. While we think that it is very important, especially for a governance token, to have a distribution that is as wide as possible, we also see that this taxation might have been a little bit too aggressive to people, especially towards the higher end of the leaderboard. We obviously respect that these people have put in a lot of time and resources, and at the end of the day, they were the ones that received the most amount of tokens, but still to kind of give back to these people and give them additional incentives, we are proposing to give a multiplier to the people towards the higher end of the leaderboard, specifically giving the top 50 people the most amount of multiplier for the next season. So for season number 1 that is going on right now, it will be applied retrospectively from the beginning to the end of season 1, and then kind of going down the leaderboard, covering the top 3,000 users of the Genesis season. I guess this is to, one, reward the people that have contributed the most activity to the platform, and second of all, have an additional incentive for people to continue using the platform and giving them a significant advantage in the upcoming season, or in the ongoing season. So yeah, this governance proposal with these 2 steps that I just talked about is live right now. Anybody who has Liquidium tokens can vote on this proposal. Right now, it looks like people are really in favor of this change. Personally, we also think it's a very good idea to proceed with that, because we want to reward the people that were most active. And obviously, we acknowledge that the Sybil attack is something that should not have happened, which is why we are willing to give supply from our own bucket back to the community. Yeah, that's, I think, most of it for the Genesis airdrop and the governance proposal. Obviously, later on, we get into the Q&A, so happy to answer more questions there as well. And up next, I think we can talk about the future of Liquidium token and upcoming seasons. So, do you want to cover it, or do you want me to continue?
Up to you. I think you're on a roll, if you like.
All right, then I'll go ahead. So, yeah, this is all freestyle as always. Yeah, so for the upcoming seasons, so basically the point printer stays on. The Genesis season obviously went over the course of the last 8 months. Now, with the token being out, we don't want to stop that. We don't want to stop the points. We don't want to not continue rewarding the most active people in the space. So we have future seasons coming up. As I said already, we're currently in season 1. So The season before that was called the Genesis season. This is season 1. And season 1 lasts 2 months in total. And instead of having a weighted distribution, this time it will have a perfectly linear distribution. The reason being that obviously before we haven't mentioned anything about the distribution, therefore nobody had an advantage because nobody knew how the distribution would go. Obviously now that we have future seasons and they are open to the public and everybody knows how they will work, we don't want to have any room for people to game the system here. So the most fair approach obviously is to have a perfectly linear distribution and a linear amount of tokens based on how many points you will have. So that's what's going on right now. To season 1, obviously the point multiplier would apply if the governance proposal goes through, which right now it looks in favor of that. And then after that, I guess, yeah, for season 1, the total amount of tokens that are distributed are 1.5 million. So that's another 1.5% of the supply, all going to protocol users this time, no distribution to ordinal communities. The second season will be similar, again, 2 months and 1.5 million tokens distributed to the protocol users there. And that's basically the current roadmap of seasons. For the future, we obviously want to hear your feedback, your ideas, and so on, and want to shape kind of future seasons together. All of this is up for governance proposals. Yeah, we're very excited about kind of like what's coming after that. So I think that covers pretty much everything in terms of the future seasons. Obviously, the airdrops will continue to happen. This time, the difference will be that instead of an airdrop, it will be a claim. That's a very subtle difference. But at the end of the day, we want to keep it still as cheap as possible for everybody to claim their tokens. But yeah, linear distribution points to tokens. Yeah, I think that covers everything for the future seasons. So, Pete, do you want to go about the roadmap that is planned a little bit?
For sure. We did post a link to it in the chat here. I'll just reply again to that real quick. First link here. Cool. So yeah, the roadmap going forward has a couple big things planned. Currently, one of the smaller things is we're playing around with an algorithm to try and set collection loan terms, and we're going to work on continue refining this as well. And we definitely want to keep hearing people's feedback. We've got a lot of feedback on this so far, so that's really good. And things around that will keep changing, keep improving. Other than that, kind of the biggest thing that has always kind of been our North Star, like the number one thing that we're working for, is liquidity pools on Bitcoin. So we're doing as much as we can right now to research kind of the best way to pull this off. We have a couple really good ideas on this now, but we're not really ready to share anything just yet, as those aspects are still being worked out, ironed out. But yeah,
Pete, we need the alpha, bro. We need the alpha, dog.
This alpha is too hot. I'm holding it. So yeah, there's a lot of cool innovations that we're working on here, and we really think liquidity pools can be a huge thing for the token as well. It can kind of play a vital role here for creating a security module and to help support borrowers and lenders on both sides. This is something that Aave does currently with their token. So that's something that we're looking really closely at, because we're always trying to see what other protocols have done really well, trying to adapt that for ourselves and see how we can improve on it as well and iterate with new ideas. those are kind of our two biggest goals going forward, kind of a lot farther out there. And in the meantime, we have some smaller goals that we'll hit along the way. Some of those are going to be instant peer-to-peer loans. So with the current flow, lenders will not have to sign again. I know some people really hate that. Some people kind of like it. But this will be really good for borrowers and for the speed of the platform in general and getting loans out a lot quicker. So we're really looking forward to that. Another big thing will be loan extensions, so that if you're caught up last minute, or if you need more time anyways, or if you just want to borrow for a while, you can extend the loans for a longer period, as long as we'll just work a couple of different ways. It could be the same lender could agree on it, or maybe another lender could step in and provide the loan for the extension as well. But this could help borrowers significantly, and that's something else that we're really working on rolling out for you guys. Another big thing, of course, which is paramount, is decentralizing the Oracle, just to make everything more reliable, more trustless, and improving all aspects there, as that's always something that we're keeping in mind and working on as we add other features as well. Other than that, we have another proposal that we're going to launch soon, which should lead to some good interest, we think. It's going to revolve around allowing borrowers with tokens to kind of receive a discount on the lending, and that discount will come from the Liquidium revenue. So that proposal is getting ready to be rolled out pretty soon. We're putting some final touches on it and how it'll work now, and then we'll post that there. So yeah, everybody should make sure to keep an eye on Votico. That's the platform that we use for our voting and proposing new things. So keep an eye there, as well as, of course, Discord and Twitter as always. But yeah, those are kind of the biggest things on the roadmap that we wanted to mention. Of course, there's some more. Feel free to check out that proposal that I posted in the chat. But yeah, those are the real big guys, the big hitters. Yeah, that's about everything for the roadmap.
I just quickly wanted to chime in again, because now it seems like the Twitter audience can hear us again. I just wanted to briefly walk through the overall token explanation again. So in short, the token starts as a governance token, or started as a governance token. And basically the idea being that we can decentralize Liquidium as much as possible and get the community as involved as possible with shaping the future of Liquidium as a protocol as well as an ecosystem. And having less centralization from the team and more towards the community. And there are some very interesting proposals already that already give kind of more utility to the token as well. So it is not limited to governance, but also that the token can evolve into anything that the community wants it to be. Obviously, we're tied to legal restrictions, so can't do anything. But yeah, we're trying to follow the community requests as closely as possible. And yeah, I think that breaks it down really well. Obviously, you can read more about it on tokenomics.liquidium.fi. So this is where you can see everything about the distribution, about the purpose of the token, about the marketplaces that it's currently listed on, and so on and so forth. I think right now it is definitely cool to be the first governance rune in the space. I think most of the Bitcoin companies haven't done anything around that yet, but I think it will come soon. More and more companies are maturing in the space, and the decentralization part there and the governance part there is definitely something that we're looking forward to in the overall space. Also, yeah, I just wanted to highlight the significance of the liquidity pools again. So Aave, I think we all know it, is like one of the key infrastructure players in Ethereum, and just the simplicity of having a liquidity pool is something that right now obviously is missing on Bitcoin. And I think everybody in the space right now is just looking for the next steps of the infrastructure. And there are so many companies that are trying to enable smart contracts right now, trying to bring us closer into being able to develop these technologies. And yeah, you can kind of count on us to be there to analyze everything and to help shape the future of Bitcoin DeFi in that sense. But yeah, that's I guess the recap. And feel free to read up on the proposals that we have live. Right. Then I'll hand it back to James.
Oh, fantastic. No, you got me really bullish and wanted me to do a hat switch, man. Gotta hit the BIP 420.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I think this is a good time right now to open it up and see if we have any questions in the audience. If you guys have any questions, yeah, put your hands up just like Ozzy. Ozzy, let's bring you up here, man. I think you should be able to come up. There we go. Perfect.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Welcome.
What's up, Ozzy?
Hey, guys. So I have a couple of questions for you, actually. As you know, I try to be active in the Discord and talk about the project and what I like and what I don't like. But yeah, we are here to try to evolve, and I'm all for it. So a couple of questions. You were talking about extending, I think it was Peter, talking about the extending in the loans, and you were saying that could be to the same lender or to the new one. But from a point of view, let's say that I'm a borrower and the guy lending to me want to extend. Let's say I don't want. How would that work if we have a default or no default? If the guy just pays the loan and put a new one, basically, I imagine it's something like that. How we envision that part?
Sorry, that's a great question. So I guess the two things that we're exploring right now, one of them would be essentially the borrower being able to request a loan extension. So then the borrower could request a loan extension, the lender would get a notification, and then the lender can decide if they want to extend the loan. And then basically you just have like the borrower requesting and signing, the lender accepting and signing, and then the loan would be extended. So that is kind of one option that we're exploring here. The other option would be kind of a more permissionless way, where the borrower does not have to request an extension, but instead, if they extend the loan, what happens is that they just, under the hood, basically accept another loan by another lender, and therefore they don't have to repay the loan, but instead they're just getting into a new loan without having to repay the loan. So what would happen in this case under the hood is that essentially a new lender is paying back the old loan or the current loan, and then the escrow is changing to the new lender, and then basically the extended loan would be just a second loan with another lender, but the borrower would never have to repay in the process. So these are kind of the two options that we're exploring right now. Obviously, we need to make we need to test what makes the most sense in terms of a technical implementation, what is possible, what can be the easiest way for us to roll something like that out. But then again, open for feedback. Happy to see kind of what the feedback there is. I would imagine that the other version would be where the borrower just requests an extension and the lender can accept it if they want to. Obviously, the better way would arguably be if the borrower can always extend without the permission of the lender. So that's kind of, I guess, the next step here.
I got you and understand perfectly. Just one question: when when we start the extension, are the terms and the LTV be like new ones? Because let's say I started 5 days, the LTV goes up, and now he wants to extend it, but I don't know if I want to be another 5 days to the new LTV.
Yeah, so obviously all of these fine detail, or like all of these details are still up for discussion, and happy to kind of hear the feedback there. I guess the general idea right now is that the loan would just extend as if they would start a new loan. So for example, if the loan is a 5-day loan, then if the extension is approved by both sides, so by the borrower and by the lender, then the loan would just double in length. So another 5-day loan basically would start right away as soon as both parties agree. The alternative of having like different lenders as the potential extension, the idea here could be that if a borrower wants to extend the loan, and then they are essentially accepting a loan by a different lender. Now, if the loan to value ratios are different, then it could result in a partial repayment, or in even a little bit of some extra money for the borrower. So let's say the first loan was for 1 Bitcoin, and now the borrower wants to extend, but the best offer is only 0.9 Bitcoin. Then the borrower would have to repay 0.1 Bitcoin, and then they would enter into the next 0.9 Bitcoin loan. Or if the best offer after that would be 1.1 Bitcoin, then the borrower would get an additional 0.1 Bitcoin, and then at the end of the term would obviously have to repay the full amount. But yeah, these are kind of the approaches that we're exploring right now. I think as we're getting closer to building this and like, I guess, finalizing anything on the technical side there, we will be sharing some of the materials, some of the things that we're thinking about, and then actively like getting the feedback from the community there as well.
Yeah, makes sense. Sure. So now, regarding to the token, because I think it's like a very important thing in the whole project. And for now, as you guys say, it's just a governance token. So should we get some more utility for the token, or some like burn mechanism? Let's say, because for now, okay, it's utility, but the people just want to farm. They don't care about utility. We'll get the airdrop and then we'll dump it in the market. I think some kind of incentive to hold the token, and let's say like lowering the fees if we have X amount of tokens, something like that, just to give people a purpose to hold the token.
Yeah, that's also a great question. And so we already have a bunch of governance proposals by the community about discounts, for example, with the token. As I said, we always obviously have to comply with regulatory, with regulations. But what we are going to put up as a governance proposal in the coming days is exactly what you mentioned, a tiered discount for borrowers. So essentially, the more tokens you hold, the less you will have to pay as a Liquidium fee. So the Liquidium fee will get discounted the more tokens you have. And then something else that could also be on the horizon, and I'm saying could because all of these utility things are things that will be decided by the community. But something that also could happen is basically a very similar approach to the lenders, where if the lenders have more and more tokens, then they will be receiving part of the Liquidium fee essentially, and therefore getting more interest. So yeah, we are obviously happy to see these creative approaches that are raised by the community to, I guess, give more utility to the token and give like some sort of benefits token holders, or yeah, I guess these kind of things. So all of this is up for governance proposals, and we are going to post the first one there in the next couple of days. So I'm very looking forward to that.
Perfect. Just my last question, and to give to someone else to come here. You were talking about the length of the season. You said 2 months?
Correct. Yes, the season is lasting for 2 months. That's season number 1, and then after that there is season 2, and then everything after that is also up for discussion for the community. I will go ahead and share the doc where the future seasons are explained. Give me 1 second. So and then I'm going to share the exact link where the exact details of future seasons are highlighted. Also, we are going to publish a blog post about this very soon, explaining exactly kind of like how the distribution works, how long the seasons last, how many tokens there will be up for the next season, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I'll share the link in the chat.
Perfect. Was a pleasure as always, and I meet you in the Discord chat, guys. Keep the good work.
Yeah. You there. Thanks for coming up.
Yeah,
Thanks,
bye.
Ozzy.
Yeah,
Good
bye.
question.
Bye, Ozzy.
That was awesome. Do we have
Great.
anybody else in the crowd who wants to raise their hand and come up and ask questions?
Feel free to send them in the chat too, if that's preferred. There
Absolutely.
was one question in the chat that I answered while you guys were talking to Ozzy, and that is, are there any plans for more multipliers? I did mention that we do have 2 planned right now that should be coming out relatively soon. The timeline on that is a little bit fluid. One is around a new wallet, and another will be a partnership with a currently listed collection. Yeah, just answer that for everybody.
Perfect.
Yeah, if there also, of course, if there are any like community favorite collections and stuff like that, happy to discuss where you think we should add some temporary multipliers. Yeah, we'll try to get every request from the community heard and see what we can do to act on it. Also, by the way, I just dropped the link to the future seasons in the chat here as well.
Nice. See, we got a couple comments coming through right now.
Oh yeah, Liquidium underwear. When Liquidium underwear?
Oddly enough, that's
I
not
don't
the
know.
first
Don't
time
know.
I've been asked that recently. So I think there's a demand, bro.
He does.
We need to
But yeah, we
partner with
definitely have
Bitcoin panties.
some more Liquidium. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, James.
No, I was just saying we should partner with like Bitcoin panties or something.
Yeah. No, we definitely have some nice new grip coming up for Singapore and also some future events. So if you ever see a Liquidium event being hosted somewhere, expect some nice goodies, some exclusive goodies. We always try to make sure that to have like individual merch for each conference and each event, so it doesn't get repetitive and there is some sort of like I guess scarcity. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely not gonna leak the design yet, but some of you older folks might get the reference once you see it. We'll definitely have it in token 2049, and we'll have a drop in Amsterdam. I see some comments in there about that. So yeah, definitely come find us. We'll make sure that we have some for you. Ozzy, that is actually stop leaking our alpha, Ozzy. Chill, bro. Chill.
Did Ozzy bug us?
For real, bro. Yo, I gotta check my devices.
I want to get into one comment here. So there was a question about the longer duration for Rune loans. So we are, as Pete mentioned earlier, we are currently experimenting with a new algorithm that determines the loan terms based on a different number of metrics. And this is something that we want to open to the public soon as well. And we're kind of including more and more metrics there along the way and just trying to fine tune it as much as possible. Right now, this is kind of the first version of the algorithm that is live right now. But as the time comes, as more feedback comes, as we kind of publish the algorithm here, we can refine this. The community can propose things, and we can just get better and better with the term setting there over time. You're very welcome.
Dope.
Cool.
Guess this is a final call for any questions or comments that you guys may have.
Appreciate the chats, guys. Always love our lunch clubs.
Me too. Yeah, it's been a part of my heart that's been missing the last few weeks.
Oh yeah, I think we have one more hand up here.
Oh yeah, let's go for it. Quacka Flocka, I love that name.
Testing, 1 2 1 2.
1 2 1 2.
Nice.
Hey guys, how we doing?
Good. Man.
So good, fantastic. Hey, a couple quick questions for you guys. Love the platform. So I understand there are quite a few borrowers who are upset with the time to accept window, or the time between their accepting offers and the time that lenders are accepting those acceptances. And it seems like the acceptance rating or acceptance rate system is pretty good. It gives us some kind of metric as to how often lenders are accepting offers or just letting them fall by the wayside there or canceling them there. But I'm wondering if let me ask you this. I'm wondering if there's any way to implement like a time to accept rating system or any way to see how long it takes for lenders to accept offers. Because it seems like that's kind of the main complaint that I'm hearing from borrowers nowadays is that it's not whether or not these loans are getting accepted, it's just whether the time is taking for these offers to get accepted. And I'm wondering if there's any way to measure that or any way to show that, how long it takes for lenders to be accepting offers there.
I'm actually glad that you're asking this. I think I have two answers to this. First of all, yes, absolutely, the lender acceptance rate was introduced to just give borrowers a better insight of how many loans the lenders are actually countersigning. But it doesn't address the problem of kind of the time to acceptance. So something that we also have outlined in the proposal for kind of our roadmap that was already agreed upon is an advanced lender rating bucket system. So instead of just showing the lender acceptance rate, we want to show basically we kind of want to grade lenders to some degree, where we take into consideration the lender acceptance rate and the time of acceptance. So kind of taking both of these into consideration, potentially also bringing in number of loans they did, or like, so we have a better understanding of how many data points there are in order to come up with the grading. But yes, this is absolutely something that we want to work on and give a better sense to borrowers how likely somebody is to accept, as well as how quickly they usually react and countersign the loans. So that's one part of the answer. And the other part of the answer is the instant peer-to-peer loans that Pete touched on earlier. So right now, as you know, it's a 3-touch point system, basically. So the lender creates a loan offer, the borrower accepts, and then the lender needs to countersign. Something that we are working on is reducing this to a 2-step way, or at least giving the option for so-called instant loan, where essentially the lender will be able to create a loan offer and deposit Bitcoin already, allowing the borrower to instantly accept the loan. So the borrower just has to countersign, and then immediately the funds will go from the lender to the borrower. So that this is something that we're currently working on, and that hopefully we will be able to release soon. And then I think first it will run in parallel to the manual loans, and then let's see kind of what the sentiment is. But we definitely want to give borrowers the option to get instant loans, and also to give lenders the option to create instant loans, because a lot of lenders obviously are also annoyed by having to countersign loans every time. So for example, for me personally, I would just put up some instant loans because I wouldn't want to bother with countersigning all of the loans. And I would just be a little bit more cautious of the loan to value ratios that I'm facing as a lender. But yeah, these are two things that we're currently working on, and that should address exactly this problem.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the answer. Let me ask you this. When you're moving over to this system of auto acceptance here, is there any way to peg the loan offer to a loan to value percentage instead of a SAT value, or is that kind of not how the technology works there?
So that is a consideration for this. Peters has proposed this as well, to have some sort of an like a maximum loan to value ratio setting, especially with the auto acceptance loans, where like obviously if the loan is being auto accepted, then you want to make sure that it's not auto accepted at 99% LTV. So basically giving the lender an option to choose the maximum loan to value ratio. But yeah, these are all things that are kind of like up for discussion. We will see how we will implement them in like going forward. Obviously, happy to hear the feedback from you. I'm glad that you're bringing it up as well, because that definitely shows that this might be a feature that is wanted by the users. But yeah, it's definitely something that we're considering at the moment.
Okay, the last question I got for you here. I noticed there was a little bit of, I guess what I'll call wash trading, and what you call in season 0, where it seemed like the same two wallets were learning the same asset back and forth, maybe 5 times a day in order to accumulate Liquidium token points there. I understand that you've put in a system here in system 1 so that you need to accumulate at least 5% of the duration of the loan in order to get points there. But, and I appreciate everything you're doing to counteract the Sybil attacks there. But are there any plans or anything to counteract sort of that wash trading behavior?
Yeah, so that's also a great question. So we do have some wash trading behavior analytics in place, essentially looking exactly at wallets that are borrowing and lending back and forth between each other. We do have a dashboard for that in place, and this is definitely something that we do want to like continue monitoring throughout the next seasons to make sure that there is nothing like that happening, and we can eliminate wash trading as much as possible. Obviously, there is no way of eliminating wash trading 100% certainty. I think wash trading is something that is happening on every single platform. The wash trading behavior on Liquidium has actually been extremely low compared to some of the other platforms on Ethereum and Solana. So We have continuously tracked that, and this is something that we're going to monitor going forward, and we are going to be as cautious as possible here.
All right, that's all I got. Hey, I appreciate all the answers, and keep up the good work. All right.
Appreciate it. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Thanks for the question.
Thank-
All right. I think that is everything. Amazing questions today. And I think we really covered a lot about what's going to happen here. And yeah, love engaging with the community.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this was a great session. And just like a reminder, we can always have future discussions as we are being, fully transparent with everything going on, as we also have governance proposals. So this is like a conversation we can continue to have on this platform specifically as well. But we definitely want to make sure everybody knows that if you have any questions or anything you want to talk about with us, we're definitely like an open door, and want to make sure that we're moving correctly with our community. So we appreciate you all for coming here for yet another Liquidium Lunch Club. It was more of a fireside chat today than a lunch club, since we weren't really eating too much, but we had fun with you all. And we'll see you all next week, probably Thursday at our regular day, I do believe. All right.
Yeah, and we're right on time. What a great session.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in, and have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, wherever you are in the world. Hope to see you soon.
GN.
Cheers, everybody. Peace.
Peace.